Markéta Irglov's tribute to Glen Hansard, May His Light Shine on Few Musical Partnerships, carry the kind of quiet, lasting intimacy that Glen Hansard and Markéta Irglová shared. They met when she was just 13 years old, growing up in a small Czech town, and he was 31, already a working musician passing through. Years later, that unlikely connection would carry them both to the stage of the Academy Awards. So when news broke on 29th July 2026 that Hansard had died in a motorcycle crash in Dublin at the age of 56, few tributes carried as much weight as the one that came from Irglova herself. This is the story of their bond, and the gentle, heartfelt words she chose to say goodbye. Hansard and Irglova's story began at a gig in her hometown, a chance meeting between a 13-year-old girl and a musician nearly 20 years her senior. What started as an unlikely friendship eventually grew during the promotional tour for their 2007 film Once into a romantic relationship that lasted around 2 years before the pair parted ways. But their musical partnership never really ended. As the swell season, they went on to record 3 albums together, the most recent, Falling Forward, released in July of last year. Their creative bond, by every account, proved far more enduring than their romance ever was. Once told the story of a Dublin busker and a young immigrant musician who form an unexpected creative bond. A narrative that mirrored in many ways the real relationship forming between Hansard and Irglova as they made the film. Their song Falling Slowly, written for the movie, captured something achingly honest, and at the 2008 Academy Awards, the pair won Best Original Song. Their acceptance speech, delivered with visible astonishment at what 2 independent musicians had just accomplished, remains one of the most beloved moments in Oscars history. The tribute following Hansard's death, tributes poured in from across the world, from Barack Obama, Bruce Springsteen, Bono, and countless others. But it was Irglova's words, shared in a post on Instagram, that carried the particular weight of someone who had genuinely known him. She wrote that her deepest condolences went out to Glen's family, his brothers, and his wife and son, telling them they were all in her thoughts and prayers. She said she was so sorry for their tragic loss and that her heart went out to them. My deepest condolences to Glen's family, his brothers, and his beautiful wife and son. Her tribute continued with a blessing, wishing that Hansard's love would always surround his family, that his spirit would guide and protect them, and that his light would continue to shine on throughout their days. She closed her post with a passage adapted from the Book of Numbers, a traditional priestly blessing, asking that the Lord keep them, that his face shine upon them, and that they be granted peace. A friendship that outlasted romance. What makes Irglova's tribute so striking is what it represents. 2 people whose romantic relationship ended nearly 2 decades ago, who nonetheless built something far more durable in its place. They continued recording and touring together for years afterward, culminating in a 2025 album and a friendship that clearly meant enough to Hansard that he specifically credited their creative connection as something he'd never quite found with anyone else. Their bond was never really about the romance in the first place. It was about the music, and about a friendship that continued to matter to both of them for the rest of Hansard's life. Markéta Irglová didn't just lose a former partner. She lost a collaborator who shaped nearly 2 decades of her creative life, from a chance meeting when she was just a teenager to an Academy Award neither of them ever expected to win. Her words, quiet, generous, and full of grace, feel like a fitting final note to a partnership that always meant far more than any single romance or headline ever could.